Alrighty, time for a TradingView TPO or market profile little tutorial. I don't use this only because I'm with Sierra. I have my TPO and market profile here and volume profile, everything I need here. But for those that are interested in learning or maybe taking a look at it for yourselves, right? TradingView has their own TPO. When it first came out a couple months ago, it was pretty bare bones. Not too much you could really customize, right? But now you even have the ability to merge profiles, split profiles. Although it's still not the greatest, um, you know, it's getting better and better with each little update they do. I'm not a fan of it per se. Maybe I'm just too used to Sierra charts, but we can go over how to set it up. So, default, right, you're given this, okay? And when I look at market profile, I typically only look at RTH, so New York session, right? I don't really keep an eye on what the market profile tells me for the London or the Asia session. I will for the following trading session, but the next one, the following one, doesn't really matter. Right. So I usually, if I were using this on TradingView, I would set this to regular trading hours, although they include like the last 10 minutes, I believe. Yeah, which I don't know why they do. It shouldn't really matter too much. But yeah, we can get into what you can do to make this look better, a little bit more visible. So settings, right? Typical periods 1 day. Although you can do a weekly one, right? We'll just start with daily. Right, have it set to 1 period. Block size is typically 30 minutes, so each letter period is typically 30 minutes. I haven't never really seen anyone do anything else, so I don't think that's too important. Just keep it at 30. Row size, I like to keep it, although auto, they set it for you, right? And you can manually zoom in and out. Right, changing on whatever you're trading, right? Whether it's NQ. If it's on manual, I believe each one, yeah, should, right? But it won't get any smaller than that. So I like to just put it on manual. Well, I don't say I'd like to, but I would rather that, keep it like 6 ticks per row or something. Right, and just see a little bit more, right, in detail. Okay. So you have that value area, 70%, that's default, right? Gradient colors, I would just change them. The colors really don't matter. I would just set it to 1. Right, let's just do red. Let's go. Let's just do red. Opacity outside value area. Right, just to differentiate it. You can split it by blocks as well, right? But I really only do this sometimes. I don't stare at a TPO that's split apart like this. You have the choice to extend, I guess, points of controls and whatnot, right? Until they, I guess, is it till intersection? No. Right. You really don't. I guess you could have the POC labeled. Poor highs, you can have them labeled. I don't need to, only because I just know I see them. Single prints, same thing. Value area high, value area low. You don't necessarily need them labeled, right? Because you have the gradient. Unless you want to get rid of the gradient, then yeah, you should probably have these up. TPO midpoint, which is different from the POC. Mid is just half back of this entire one TPO, right? You can have opening labeled and closing labeled. Initial balance range. This is more important for people that really use extensions. Right, you can have this black line on the side here, just shows you your A and B period, right? So if we split it by blocks, it should be the 2-letter periods, A and B. And I think you should be able to do, oh, they don't put out extensions, do they? Okay, yes, not really relevant. Although, yeah, maybe you could throw that in there. Okay, and I don't really need the volume profile. It basically ends up being the same thing as the TPO, right, on most sessions. Obviously I have it on my Sierra, but you know, all in all, they end up becoming the same. Um, so those are probably the best looking settings. Obviously, you know, the color you can do yourselves. I don't really need the volume profile. Visual wise, it's hard to see this with the candle overlay. I would even suggest turning it off. Right, I have it moved to the back. You could probably just get rid of this and do your levels, find your levels here, and then, you know, maybe have another chart pulled up, right, with ES, whatever you're using on, right, and just sort of, and I guess go about it. Okay. Um, you know, TPO is a great tool. You know, you'll see things on a candlestick chart, right? We can turn this back on. You'll see things on a candlestick chart, but the TPO just makes it so much easier, right? Like, for example, let me just have chart drawings. Right, like we have this set of, I'm just going to go through a couple examples. So just bear with me, or stick around if you want to. All right, like you have excess here from this session. Okay, what do we do the next session? You just, obviously we trade under it and bump into something else, right? In this case, it looks like you run into this session's value, or whether it's these couple of highs. You know, that's sort of where we failed to get over, and what happens the next session, right? You get this. Obviously, this is hindsight, but you know, on this pullback at the open, what do you come down to? Your point of control, right? And you know, maybe you could have expected the bounce here, right, where this session's little tiny bit of excess or poor high was. Ultimately, come down to your point of control and get a bounce, right? This session we stay range bound. You know, even in this case, it's a tiny little spike base, right? And after this session, it becomes a poor high. But now you have yourself a little spike base. And what was the idea going into this session? Only be long once over, right? We didn't get into it. We didn't get over. That's sort of why I didn't really play size today, except I am swing long. I'm sort of these lows. I got a gorgeous entry on that, already out of one. Just swinging the rest into PPI, but you know, that's sort of what TPO gives us, is a better visual representation of value, whether it's day to day, whether it's, you know, by week, by month. You know, it gives us an idea of where value is shifting. Okay, so there's that little tutorial. You know, I would suggest learning on this before switching over to any of your paid platforms, right? That are little that and that also have tick data. You know, you can get like Quant Tower for free with some prop firms, but most of these will rack you up at least 20, $30 a month. You know, in my case, I pay 40, 40 or 50 a month for Sierra. Yeah, it's not much, but you know, just before you blindly get into things. You know, if you're a complete beginner but still want sort of that better version, I would probably suggest Sierra. Not Sierra, Quant Tower. Um, Sierra chart is great, except there are so many things you have to manually adjust. Okay, I mean, I don't mind giving you my chart books at all. Like I can share this to you guys if you have Sierra, but you know, default, you have to go in and change a lot of things. Okay, like a lot, right? You got a crap load of settings here that you can play around with, and modify, and whatnot. Okay, so if you like doing that, if you like to see how things work, or whether it's even writing your own scripts or just like being able to customize things, further than just the look of it, just being able to customize exactly what everything calculates, looks like, etc. Sierra is a place for you. Okay, so there's a little spiel. But yeah,